Hi everyone,
Hello.
it's Inquisitorious Sindin, aka Larissa,
Hey, Marshall.
and Marshall, loving spouse Marshall. Welcome everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the finale here live on.
The number one Mark fancast.
Hey! Posthumous.
Posthumous Mark fancast.
Hey! Well, hey, I had to get one more good use out of that joke,
Yep.
I think.
It's finally done.
Yay! Just like Mark.
Just like Mark. Well, he's been dead for a while.
Yeah, well. I'm sure the other Jedi think, oh yes, he's finally dead, the last Inquisitor. But we gone but not forgotten. Mar.
Yes.
Okay. We have a lot to talk about other than but I mean we can talk about what our satisfaction for the series. I know all of our phones vibrating all at once. Like our overall satisfaction with the series and everything, just to warm things up. How do you feel?
I think, I think out of like the stuff that's come out in the past couple of years, I put this up there.
Are you sad that it's over?
I mean, not really. Like I think it's important to have like a finishing point. You know what I mean? Like I don't want it to go on in perpetuity. Like I mean, we always knew it was going to be 8 episodes. I'm not saying I wouldn't have wanted more episodes.
I really think it might have benefited from more episodes, to be honest. But
yeah,
just based on how this finale went, it was good. It was good. I don't think it was the strongest episode of the season.
No, it wasn't. It fell into a lot of like the kind of stereotypical Star Wars stuff.
And stuff that I think maybe if they had put like maybe a little bit more thought into, or had more time to like really flesh it out, it probably would have come out maybe a little better.
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's not that I don't get to watch Star Wars anymore, but it's I think they've finished it as effectively as they could have probably in 8 episodes. I don't know, they could have done a better job with some stuff, but it wasn't like a huge letdown.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed the series. I enjoyed the finale. I don't think that it was like the best finale that it could have been. Like there's a lot of stuff that kind of like just gets swept under the rug that I think that they just didn't have time to address.
Yeah.
But
could have done with a 2-part finale.
Yeah, a 2-part finale would have been good. I think maybe 10 episodes would have been good because we only had Ezra and Thrawn for like 3 episodes.
They could have not spent 25% of the show rehashing a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't necessary.
Yeah. Longer episodes, too?
I think for that episode it's fine. I think more episodes will
Okay. Because, like, wasn't one of the episodes, like, less than 40 minutes? It was, like, 37 minutes or something like that?
They bounced around the 40-minute
mark. Yeah. But I feel like, there were a lot of... I mean, in some ways, the pacing, they did right because... we got to have scenes that, like, were really, like, fully breathing moments. Like, there's a lot of moments of, like, still silence, like, training sequences or, like, the sort of the end of this one where, you have Sabine and Ahsoka, like, looking out and kind of pensively and, like, Jason and Hera kind of doing the same thing. So, like, the show definitely has, like, breathing points. Sorry, the cat is chewing the cords. Stop. It definitely has, breathing moments, but on the other hand, we had things that like we don't really get much time with Ezra and Sabine together, and that's kind of one of my things that doesn't get addressed. Is Sabine never talks to Ezra about what it took to get him home,
Nope,
or anything like that, and that just seems like kind of an obvious oversight. But hey, I know, just if only he would stop chewing the cables. All right. So, we're going to not dwell on the negative or how it could have been improved just yet. We're going to talk about the parts that we really did like. Some of our favorite parts, which there were a lot of really, really good, strong parts in this. Did you have any standout, like, favorite moments?
Let's see. I mean, I like the when they like regrouped after the ship went down and they got What are they called? The Howlers.
Yeah, the Howlers. Yeah.
And then had Huyang stay back with the Noti to fix the ship, and I like the all the stuff with Thrawn, and then like.
Well, yeah, of course, it's hard not to like Thrawn.
Yeah. The Night Sister stuff was cool. I loved that when they reanimated all of the stormtroopers.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that was kind of an awesome moment.
Yeah. One thing I wish I had the sword that she gets.
Oh yeah, the blade of Talzin. Yeah, we had a name drop. We had a lot of name drops in this episode.
Is that a thing that's been mentioned before?
No.
Okay. Okay. So I was like, oh, okay. I mean,
the gift of shadow is also a thing that has not. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's. You listed a lot of things, and we didn't have time to actually go in depth in any of them. So let's talk about that. The Night Mother lore. It's very cool to see a little bit more of that explored. I did like that. The gift of shadow thing. So like, we had some questions about like, why is Morgan not gray?
Yeah.
We had some questions about that, of course, and now it kind of seems like maybe you have to go through like a rite of passage or a ritual or something. Not that they like fully grayed her out even when she did get the gift of shadow.
Yeah.
But she was closer to like what we consider to be like a traditional Night Sister look.
Yeah. I think maybe it's different because she's not like from Dathomir, right? She's not Dathomirian.
She supposedly is.
Oh, is she?
I mean, she's supposedly like the Night Sisters are her ancestors, so.
Oh, okay. Well, and I don't really get it.
No.
I don't get
the Morgan's
gift of shadows.
One of the things for me in this series is that I feel like we had too many antagonists, and we were trying to juggle like too many antagonists, and like that means that two of them did not really get the time of day. And like, imagine if we didn't have, I know this is sacrilege, but imagine if we didn't have Mark and we didn't have Morgan.
Yeah.
And we just had Baylan, Shin, and Thrawn to worry about. I think
because Shin Hati had one scene in this finale.
Well, I mean, it's not even like, because I feel like they kind of had their moment before the finale, and like the point of the finale was getting back to Thrawn. Like, I don't like, and I discussed this last episode, that I don't really think that they had like a clear place to go in this episode to like interfere or anything. I think it would have been cool if she like went back with Ezra or something like that. But ultimately, where it leaves, I'm not dissatisfied with her staying on Peridia, I guess that makes sense for her to stay on Peridia. But it's there wasn't much room for more interaction with it. Like, Baylan and Ahsoka have already fought each other twice now. Shin and Sabine have fought each other 3 times now. It's not really anything new to, put them back in. So I don't think they really had a place in the finale. So, but I think that if we had taken out some of Morgan's stuff and some of Mark's stuff, then we could have really explored a little bit more in depth what Baylan and Shin were doing there. Because it kind of leaves it on a note that's like, well, they're cool characters and we're very interested in them, but we don't get very much about them at all. Like, the crumbs are nice, but
I think a big thing for me was like you're saying, like, I guess so Morgan is in there because she was in
yes.
I still think they maybe could have, I don't know, but like we say Marek, like he was just a guy, you know what I mean?
He was an inquisitor.
Yeah, but they didn't do anything.
No, they didn't. He did the most Inquisitor thing you can do, which is look cool and immediately die.
Look cool and die. It would have been, I think they kind of, this happens a lot, but they have like a bunch of new characters that want to introduce, but they also want to bring people in with recognizable faces.
Yeah. I think the big thing with Morgan is that they failed to make me care about what was happening to her this episode. Like, because this should have been a big deal. Like, she like gets officially like inducted into the sisterhood or whatever, and like she has this really badass fight scene and everything, but and like the sword of Talzin and everything like that. Like, it really should, like, I'm way more interested in the Night Mothers than I am in anything that's going on with Morgan. And like, so the process of the series failed to make me care enough about what happened with her. So I ultimately think that kind of like went nowhere. And her death was like, okay.
Yeah,
like,
I expected her to die. And
yeah,
also,
and like you wanted it to feel satisfying, right? Like, oh, Ahsoka's killing this big bad, but like it doesn't really feel satisfying either.
No, because
like,
we also have again, like we know that none of these characters are in peril.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, okay, well, they're going to defeat her, but so like how long is it going to take for them to defeat her?
Yeah. But that said, I liked the ritual scenes and everything like that. I liked getting a little bit more of their lore. I especially loved the zombie troopers and like the scene where there's one like right up in Sabine's face and you can like actually see
part of its helmet's blown off and it's all
that was one
up.
of the. It was that we were discussing what do we call that a Death Knight trooper. A resurrected Death Knight Trooper. Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Zombie Death Trooper sounds redundant.
Yeah, but they were Death Troopers. They weren't regular Stormtroopers.
Right, but I'm just saying it's like.
All right, fine.
Or what about Undead Death Trooper?
Kill my fun.
Undeath Trooper.
I'm leaning forward like the microphone's not behind me. Kill my fun.
Undeath Trooper.
So, we also, I mean, obviously it was, I think probably the highlight of this episode for me, is the lightsaber building.
That was really cool.
To have that like dialogue between Hu Yang and Ezra, like another like Boken Jedi moment where like, you know, he has a different way of doing things than Hu Yang is used to or whatever, but then Hu Yang's able to like connect the dots. We get a Kanan mention and even a Caleb mention at that. Yeah. And then he connects those dots and it's helping parallel like what's going on with Sabine and Ahsoka. I don't feel like that was really fully paid off either because like Hu Yang just told Ezra, like, because Sabine just disappears after a comment about the bond between Master and Padawan, and Sabine just disappears and Ezra's like, and then Hu Yang again gives us kind of like a very brief, like we got yada 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 through Sabine's family dying again.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe Ezra might have some experience with having a dead family that he might be able to relate to Sabine?
I wanted more Ezra and Sabine
yeah, like I mean, like that does seem like something that like Ezra would have pretty strong feelings about, being someone with dead parents. I think that they could have really had a moment about that, but it was kind of like immediately like Sabine goes outside and like, you know, she and so it almost felt back like we were back at the very beginning again because she's like, because you know she's like, oh, so you know, like she's like kind of like downcast and like they're kind of awkward again. Like I thought we'd moved past that. Now we're back to them being awkward again.
Yeah, it was weird.
And then it kind of, you know, in the end, Sabine makes a decision to stay and help Ahsoka, which like completes that arc. But it feels kind of wishy-washy. It feels like there really should have been more of Ezra like having a moment with Sabine about her family and everything, but he kind of just like goes outside, and I think they have like even like a jokey moment, you know, like after he finds out that her family's dead, and like he goes outside and like it's just he and Sabine and Ahsoka joking again.
Yeah.
So that's kind of strange, but I did like the lightsaber building part. It made me feel very because you know in the past when we've had lightsaber building scenes, it's been like all floaty and everything coming together midair, but this feels very much like when Cal Kestis is like building his lightsaber like on a
on the table. Yeah.
Although I think it still would have been cool to have Airbender Ezra, but yeah, we paid off him having a lightsaber again. So cool. And obviously, I think the other two big things here that we like love. Ezra and Hera reuniting, and like Chopper immediately recognizing him like a dog that hasn't seen its master.
Yeah.
It's like their fucked up little pet.
Yeah.
He's like a fucked up little pet, Mr. Chopper. But he's like wah, 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 wah.
And I love how they keep that like squeaky wheel sound, like
yeah.
Like, even though they're like the leader, they're like the new government, like he still has that squeaky wheel. I like the like authenticity of that and I think this is sometimes something that gets they did it well with this because they had all the like the Kintsugi troopers and stuff like that. But sometimes I think what feels different about some of the shows is that they lose a little bit of that like dirty lived in component, but they keep that with like Chopper still got his busted up wheel, and they have like all this like it kept that, and I enjoyed it.
It reminds me of the very first scene. Well, not the very first scene, but one of the early scenes in Rebels with Chopper, where like Ezra snuck into Kanan's bedroom and is like looking at his lightsaber, and then Chopper's like very eerily like rolling by in the hallway, like what?
Yeah,
Like
and
it's like it's
like
very
a knockdown,
ominous.
drag out fight.
But I liked Ezra. Like, well, one we got, and this was something that we predicted and really wanted Ezra to kind of go back to his roots and be disguising himself as a stormtrooper and whatnot, and we got that. And him like petting Chopper, like still in the stormtrooper outfit before he takes his helmet off. The only things that I have about this scene is that I really wish they would have had time to introduce him to Jason.
Yeah.
Because I really wanted Ezra to meet Hera's son, and also like, I mean, I know that we had a lot of like hugging, like, we got the Ezra and Sabine, like very satisfying hug. We got Ezra and Ahsoka having a really nice hug, but like Hera and Ezra only get to like stare at each other from like 30 feet away.
Yeah.
But I mean, the I'm home is like very, very sweet, but it's like, that's her other son.
It's her first son.
That's her first son.
Her first baby.
Who she's apparently been spending all of this time trying to get back to and everything. And they like stare at each other from 20 feet away.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess she's supposed to be like really like stunned in that moment. But yeah, it's like that's it. That's all we get there. It was nice though.
It was nice. I would have liked it for them to have hugged.
Yes, please. Contact. Because, like, I mean, I feel like Hera is, like, the first person in the Ghost crew that Ezra really has a connection with. Because, like, they go for that other mission, like, after they pick up Ezra or whatever, and it's, like, Sabine and Zeb and Kanan or whatever, and it's Hera and Ezra are alone in the cockpit, and he's like, well, why would you do something to, like, help other people? And Hera says her, like, very famous line of, like, well, if all you do is fight for your own life, then your life is worth nothing. Like, I feel like they're two of the ones that like have like that really connection early on, and so it would have been nice to see them have some kind of like a little bit more of a reaction to that.
Yeah.
I thought Ezra's actor killed it though. I mean, like Ezra's actor did a fantastic job of like the I can't believe I'm actually back here kind of thing. Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that scene. The other thing is kind of towards the very, very end with Baylan and Shin. We did also really want them to have kind of an open-ended ending. And boy, seeing Baylan standing on that statue, and as it pans out, you realize it's the statue of the father from Mortis. And there's the son next to him, but then the daughter has her, who like is the light side of the Force, has her like head gone.
And they hinted at that earlier, because didn't that owl show up?
Yeah, like in the scene immediately before this, yeah we have the I forget what the name of the actual owl is. It's like Mordecai or Mordai or something
Mordecai?
like that. No, not Mordecai.
Okay.
Morai, I think is what it is. But that's the name. I think the species is a convery. But anyway, it's
Star Wars owl, white Star Wars
Star
owl
Wars
shows
owl
up.
that follows Ahsoka around and is basically like the manifestation of the daughter.
Yeah.
Is there. So I thought that was kind of neat. What do you think that might mean?
I mean, so it ties into all that Baylan was talking about, where he's like, this is where my path diverges, right? Like I made it here, but I'm not going to be part of this like new empire or whatever. And that's what he tells Shin, like, go take your place in the new empire.
Well, I mean, what do you think about like the statues and the fact that the daughter's head is gone? What do you think that means? Like, do you think it's like the light side of the Force is weaker here, or is it?
I mean, it seems like that if we interpret the Night Mother stuff as kind of on the evil or darker side of things.
Yeah. I saw a very interesting theory on subreddit today, actually, that it's like the statues are like protecting something, like a temple or something, and like the fact that the daughter's head is gone, it's like all three are needed to protect it, and like they get weaker as one of them falls and whatnot. Another interpretation I think is that like, Ahsoka is like followed by the manifestation of the daughter. So, like Ahsoka is here to take the daughter's place. It's another interpretation to think about.
Yeah, because they handled like being stuck on the planet really well. But I guess that's part of, you know, they knew it was an option. They knew it was like a possibility.
Yeah.
But I do like the concept that, or the possibility that like they're stuck there now with Shin and Balin, and what. So like there's conflict on both ends now that's still possible. So you have
come on, they can just ride the Purrgil back now that the Night Sisters aren't there to kill them.
Yeah, I was.
Hey, I mean, apparently that's how the Night Sisters got to Dathomir in the first place. So why can't we just do it again?
Yeah, I was toward the end of that. I was like, man, if the Purrgil show up now, it's going to be a little. Cheap.
No, they're like the Eagles in Lord of the Rings or something.
Yeah,
we know that Filoni really likes Lord of the Rings, and he likes wolves a lot too. They're like the Eagles in Lord of the Rings, and you can't just like call them to fix all your problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So. I think we talked about most of our least favorite parts already, so we got them out of the way, even though I was supposed to go through the favorite parts first. The only one that we didn't talk about is kind of the big glaring obvious one, which is Sabine using the Force.
Yeah.
I didn't think that had as much of a payoff as it maybe should have.
Yeah, it
it
was kind of like they'd like played with it a couple times, and at this point it's like if they do it again, if they have her try it and it doesn't work, I feel like them introducing that like scenario was kind of going to be fall flat either way. Like either she gets it, like what I would have thought maybe would have been cool was if like she's reaching out for it and it comes to her, but then she looks over and it's somebody else that had like thrown it to her.
Well, I don't know about that. I really think that like probably the best way that this arc could have ended was like keeping it kind of like or like doing like they did to Open the Door, where it's like all three of them together. I feel like it's the fact that she couldn't even move a cup, and then she can pull a lightsaber into her hand, whatever.
And then yeet Ezra.
That's the part that I have the issue with. Is like okay, so you could like barely use it, and then like now all of a sudden you can push Ezra like 500 feet or whatever. That felt kind of odd. I think it would have been something to have her like cooperating with the other people. Like I don't have a problem with her pulling the lightsaber necessarily, but I feel like the moment that they chose to do that was really weak.
Yeah.
Like if she had done that to save someone else, I would have probably felt like it was more believable. Like if Ezra was in mortal peril, or like he wasn't going to make it onto the ship because like there was a trooper holding him back, and then she like catches the lightsaber. I think that would have been a little bit more impactful than her using it to save herself.
Or if they had made her like really work for it in terms of not just like it shoots into her hand, but she's like dragging it. Like her force is still weak. Like so she's reaching out and it's like sliding along the ground.
Yeah, like if we had like a camera angle that like was like very close to the ground to the lightsaber, and we just like dragged it across the ground, and like we like
right at the last moment it gets into her hand and she's able to save herself.
Yeah. I think that would have been a lot more, because we've seen like Force users like grab lightsabers before all the time. I think that shot would have like pushed it over the edge. Like we were watching the saber like drag away from the camera.
But then they wouldn't have. But then it would have made even less sense for her to be able to push over like that. So I think that's why they did it. So like they show, she has Force now, and she can do this. Like I think that.
But what if both her and Ahsoka were pushing Ezra?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like I think that like in a cooperative sense, it makes a lot of sense. Like I think if it was the both of them helping push him, but plot necessitates that we have to separate them so that she can come back to her. I don't know. It seems like, again, like maybe they just didn't have enough time to write it and really think through it, or I don't know. Like it seems like things could have been tweaked a little bit to make like a slightly better story.
Yeah,
I think. Like because some of this stuff it feels kind of rushed, or it feels kind of like it doesn't pay off in the way that it maybe could. Yeah, exactly. It's like it's not bad, but I definitely see like whereas like Andor, I don't think that I have like any notes of like how to make the story of Andor like stronger. But this, it feels like a couple of little tweaks really could have, and maybe they just needed more time to think on it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like I expect a certain amount of Deus Ex Machina in Star Wars.
Sure, it's Star Wars, and a lot of, and you know, we expect some like goofy shenanigans too. Like, I mean, I think the moment when Hu Yang is on the ship trying to fix it with the noti. Now, I think that that scene was maybe not. That one kind of is in a weird middle thing because it's supposed to be funny, I think, but it almost rings as like too serious when he's like, "Don't wait up for me." So like that scene is kind of it hits a little weird. I think
there were I felt a lot of times in this episode where there were certain parts where I was like, I wanted them to dwell longer on it, and then there were some moments where it felt like, oh, let's get to the next thing. Like it was the pacing was strange.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to see more with Shin and Balin, even if it wasn't them fighting somebody. I wanted to see more than just like a 20-second vignette. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the same thing with Hu Yang staying back to fix the ship or that kind of stuff. It's like that could have been more.
Yeah, because I think we could have checked in with him a few more times. Now, on the other hand, we've been in this exact situation like 3 times in an 8-episode series where it's like, oh, something's wrong with the ship, and Hu Yang has to fix the ship and then get it fixed at the last second or whatever. That's happened several times during this, so I feel like maybe we could have come up with something a little bit. I mean, in this episode, it totally makes sense for like the ship, and like, I kind of feel that moment when they're like, oh, well, we're gonna get that short burst or whatever, and they crash the ship. Like that moment hits, like the peril in that moment, kind of like sinks in. But then we don't have anything to like reinforce that, and then like he's like, "Don't wait up for me," and then he's there anyway. I mean, maybe stuff got cut. We don't know.
I think stuff could have gotten cut. Yeah, it definitely seems like they had maybe elements that they just didn't put in there. I don't know why. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they could have made it as long as they wanted to, right? I mean, there's no. You know, they don't have to air it on television with commercials, right? So they could have
just a cost and a time thing.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So our best character moments. Well, we've talked about both of the ones that I listed, but I guess we could review also for like the series as a whole. I really thought that Ezra and Thrawn's characters, like, really. I mean, honestly. I think they were like the 2 standout performances in this. Not that the other actors didn't do a great job. I mean, Sabine's actor did well.
Sabine.
Yeah, but I think that those 2 were incredible.
And Balin.
Oh yeah, we can't forget him either.
Yeah.
Even though he wasn't really in this episode. No.
Right.
Yes, his character we like. But man, having an Ezra back with so much levity and like. Goofy Star Wars shenanigans, like little crab people and whatnot. Something else I wanted to talk about when they have that scene, when they're chasing the Howlers up to the fortress, and Thrawn's like, rain hellfire upon them. I'm like, why do the characters in Star Wars know what hell is? Rain hellfire upon them.
Yeah.
It's like Thrawn. In Peridia, hell is real.
Yeah.
But once again, at least none of the Noti die on screen. They're getting like all this like aerial bombardment and everything.
Yeah, they're totally fine. Just have a little bit of damage.
Uh-huh. Well, actually, they're not really in that scene, are they? No, they're.
No, but they get shot at by the ties.
Yeah. Always cool to see. Oh, I think probably one of the coolest like cinematography moments of this episode is. When the Night Sisters are finished doing one of their rituals, and then we have like the Imperial like alarm sound blaring as it like pans to Thrawn, which Thrawn gets like infinite favors with the Night Mothers apparently.
Yeah.
And he's
it's because apparently he's taking.
Oh, it's the ritual to resurrect the troopers.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the ritual to resurrect the troopers, and then like the Imperial alarm starts blaring, and no, that happened beforehand because that's when the ties launched. I don't know. We had a lot of Night Sister magic in this.
like he's taking back, I guess, like their entire collection of dead.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like.
Yeah. To Dathomir we go.
Yeah, that was cool. I love that. That was a cool one also when they showed up to Dathomir.
Yeah, we were like, Dathomir!
Yeah.
Yay! Please show us a live action Dathomir and have it not suck.
Yeah.
I did think that one of the funnier things to happen in this episode is when they're getting chased by the zombie troopers, which I loved the way that the zombie troopers like move and everything, and then all of a sudden they go to some stairs. They go up some stairs and like they're like so,
running regularly
they're
up the
so
stairs.
perky up the stairs, and then they're like. So perky running up the stairs was very funny. Also, the fact that their doors work the exact same way that they do in our galaxy, that they can just hit a point.
They just slice through the panel and it closes. Yeah.
Oh wow, so lucky for them that their doors are exactly the same.
It's a convergent technological evolution.
Apparently. Why don't our doors do that? Come on now.
Just like how so many different creatures ended up with 2 pairs of eyes. Or 1 pair of eyes.
How strange would it be though to be watching something in Star Wars and they like literally pull open a door? Have we ever seen a door pull open in Star Wars?
Does a cabinet count?
Does someone open a cabinet in Star Wars?
Yeah. I think open cabinets and pull stuff out.
Oh yeah, I guess we had Hu Yang like pulling out the drawers and whatnot. Again,
they have drawers.
Yeah, they have drawers. But like, I don't think we've ever seen somebody like pull open the door. So maybe it would be really strange to be watching Star Wars and watch something like, and then there would be like 1,000 clickbait articles about it afterwards.
Like when they saw a Phillips head screw in that episode of Andor, like, oh, the Phillips head is in Andor. It's like,
yeah. I mean, it's
fastener technology. There's only so many variations you can do on fastener technology.
I also like. It's just The door thing, it was funny for a moment, but I mean, I don't really care that much, I guess, but it does feel like this galaxy could have been a little weirder.
Yeah. I think because they set up, it's like such a huge thing, they're going to another galaxy.
Yeah.
And they get there and it's like, it's a little weird.
Yeah,
it's not the weirdest
episode, like,
place we've ever been.
We had like some different like aesthetics, like with all the gold and everything, and like the very angular ships, and like everything was very medieval. And then like we get inside of the fortress, and it's still like very much quintessentially the same Star Wars stuff that we're used to. Is kind of maybe Thrawn has rebuilt all of their doors since he arrived. Maybe that's why the Night Mothers are there for him. I feel like they could have gone a little bit more medieval. I think that would have been a nice touch.
Yeah.
But I guess if Peridia is supposed to be like maybe where the Zepho and the Night Sisters come from, and like we go into Zepho temples and stuff like that, and all of their technology is like vaguely similar to stuff that we see in our galaxy. I don't know. You know what? I have alternate idea. In Jedi Survivor, we have a lot of stuff to like get us like to Tanalorr that is like very different. Like we have like orbs with like purple beams that shoot out of them, and like crystals that infect things and stuff like that. I definitely think that like and we have these like antimatter like bridges and stuff. I think that some stuff like that might have made it a little bit more strange. And then you've already established that like Tanalorr is not like a normal place within the galaxy. It's a place that you can only get by like traversing a wormhole. So I think that aesthetic really could have done well here as well.
Yeah, I think, and especially, I mean, some of that stuff like the orbs with the beams is like it's like born of needing a gameplay mechanic.
Yeah, for sure.
But like the stuff with the, like all of the like iris doors, but like they're all super like gold and that kind of aesthetic. And
the High Republic stuff.
Yeah, the High Republic stuff, and then the bridges that are like the light bridges from Halo, except that they're made out of like it looks like iron filings, kind of.
Yeah. Like a ferrous like matter thing.
Yeah.
The iris doors would have been a cool way to address our door situation.
Yeah.
Things that instead of like sliding up and down, they like come together and go apart. Or even this is a Night Sister fortress. We could have had more like magic doors. Magic doors.
And you need that skill or some kind of force to open or close them.
Yeah, exactly.
Force or magic.
Oh man, what if the Night Mothers could have like been like controlling the fortress, and it could have been kind of like a maze that they had to traverse. I feel like that if we did not have Morgan Elsbeth's character, that could have been like the main thing, like the main obstacles that they were trying to. Like we obviously they could have had the night troopers chasing them through these like mazes and everything, but I think that would have been a way to like add conflict without having to have a fight that we know how it ends.
Yeah.
I think that might have been a satisfying way to do it.
When you saw Morgan, when they were like, time to give you the gift of shadows, did you think they were gonna like kill her?
Yeah.
And subsume her? Okay.
Yeah.
I did too.
I did too. Yeah.
I thought they were gonna like absorb her essence into the collective. Because like that's a thing they've established on Dathomir is like their spirits are like they continue on the planet as kind of like a hive mind almost.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how I keep we keep referencing stuff related to the Jedi games. But
Oh.
that's because that's like where she gets her power from is her sisters.
Yeah, also I think too,
Marin being she.
Yeah. Part of Marin's established thing that she can do is like disappear and like travel through like a shadow, I don't know, a shadow realm or whatever, and then like reappear. It looks like she's teleporting, but really she's just like traveling using Night Sister magic.
Yeah, she like
that could have been the gift of
transitions
shadow.
into the ether.
Yeah, exactly. Like she like turns into fire and then moves around. Like that could have been the gift of shadow. Like to like move as like a shadow. Oh man, that would have been like a great horror element. Like we don't see Morgan Elsbeth traveling through here manipulating things, but we like see like her shadow like moving on walls behind them and everything.
Yeah.
Like that could have been a really cool like horror element to this because like we already have zombies, so like we already have kind of like a campy horror element.
Yeah, and they went so far as to like not only do we have zombies, but they show like rot, like fucked up flesh and stuff. So it's not just like they're inside a suit, so it's like tame zombies. Like they show like the zombie component, so they could have done something more like you were talking about. It would have been not as much of a jumping the shark as it might have seemed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's so we can talk about kind of some lingering questions or things that weren't addressed. So in the last episode, Thrawn was pretty adamant that their goal was to like escape and to like buy time and get out of there. But like this episode, he's like very specifically like sending more resources to destroy them.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of a weak point in writing. Is like, okay, so like, what is he trying to do then? Like.
Yeah.
I feel like some of those things were not really thought through.
It's just like they say cool lines to sound cool, but then it doesn't matter later.
Well, and I thought that like in previous episodes, like he really like truly like showed himself to be a master tactician, and like in this one we see like the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker cannot be reasoned with, or whatever he says,
Yeah.
or will not bargain, or whatever, cannot be bargained with, something like that. Which was kind of a cool thing, acknowledging that Thrawn, previously knew Anakin Skywalker and everything, and his fear of Ezra getting on the ship and everything, which I think, again, it doesn't really pay off that Ezra was like sneaking around on the ship. I mean, I guess Thrawn doesn't know he's on the ship, right? So now he's made it to the New Republic, so now he can warn the New Republic that Thrawn is on Dathomir or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That, again, I think if we had, one or two more episodes, we maybe could have, played a little bit more and had a little bit more different action. Could have been nice. We didn't really have a lot of variety in the types of action that we get over the course of the show. We had a lot of really cool lightsaber fights, which I'm not complaining about cool lightsaber fights, but there are other ways to build tension and conflict too.
Yeah. I agree.
All right, and so what do you think's coming next?
I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna make Thrawn's return meaningful in the context of what we already know
is happening. Yeah, the
happens
First Order
later.
and yeah. They retcon the sequel scene. They would not.
Please, absolutely.
They won't. Look at how much money they spent on Galaxy's Edge.
God, I think the original Imperial Remnant storyline
Hey, it's a
from
big
the
galaxy.
heir to
This
the
this
Empire.
could have been going on somewhere else.
Right, but that's never a problem. Like, the fact that the galaxy is enormous is never a concern.
No, what I'm saying is that this storyline can also be happening concurrently with that one.
That would be weird. But, yeah, it could. I'm just trying to, yeah, it could.
Why? The galaxy's huge. They blew up Hosnian Prime, but, like, it doesn't seem like they'd, like, really travel very far in the sequel trilogy.
That's because it's bad writing.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that opens up room for something else to be going on in the other side of the galaxy.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they're going to make it matter.
The First Order goes more into the Sith stuff and the Sith Eternal, because obviously it's being controlled by Palpatine. Thrawn doesn't care about that stuff. I don't see him caring about any of that. So he could be on the other side, or he could return to the Ascendancy.
That would be cool.
Yeah, so there's plenty of ways that we can do that. I'm curious to see, like, if we get, like, kind of a new like, generation of Jedi and Sith on Peridia now.
Or if they're even considered that anymore. Right? Like,
well,
what does it mean in the new galaxy?
I mean, like, the archetype, I guess.
Right. But, like the good versus evil on
Peridia. Yeah. I'm not sure that I would want, like, well, okay, so, like, it's pretty heavily implied that we're going to have, like, a movie or something to, like, address Thrawn's return and everything like that. I feel like it would be really cheap to, like, leave Sabine and Ahsoka on Peridia and then be like, and now they're back.
Oh,
like, I think
you
they
mean
need
if they
to
just, like,
I think they need to
snap their
stay
fingers to have them come
well,
back?
like, I imagine, like, if they want to have them in the movie, they're going to have to just, like, immediately bring them back in, like, the first 15 minutes of the movie, which is going to be stupid.
So
I think they should just stay on Peridia.
Where have you seen stuff about the movie?
So Filoni is definitely in development on a Star Wars movie.
Okay. But we don't know what it is.
We don't necessarily know exactly what it is, but it's supposed to be taking place in this time period. It's supposed to tie together Ahsoka and the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. So it's supposed to tie together, like, our new sequel shows, basically.
Okay.
So, I mean, I would guess that would be about Thrawn's return. I mean, what else would you make it about? But, like, I don't feel like there's a place for Ahsoka and Sabine in this show. Because if they immediately come back, then their sacrifice is totally meaningless and nothing matters. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, although I would have preferred, again, if we'd had more time for Sabine and Ezra to, like, actually have, like, another meaningful goodbye, which they didn't have, which makes me think that they're probably going to be reunited again.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But please don't make it in, like, the next 15 minutes.
No, I don't want them... yeah.
They need to spend significant time on Peridia. But then if they do, then it's just like this in reverse again. You know what I mean? It's like they haven't... Like, I really think that they need to stay on Peridia. I mean, as much as that sucks, I don't want them to be on Peridia, but now that they're there, I think they have to stay there. For it to not be like, well, what was the point of all that?
They at least need to... Yeah, like... not have it happen in, like, 2 episodes. Like, it needs to be, like, a little more. But again, like, we need longer seasons. Like, because...
Yeah. This really could have benefited from a longer season.
Yeah. I think,
and more time in development, which maybe writers will have more time to work on stuff like this now. Like, we don't need a Star Wars show every 6 months. I get it that it keeps our Disney Plus subscriptions going and whatnot, but, like, I don't think that we need something every 6 months. If it takes longer to develop something of high quality, then it just takes longer. And we just wait. We're Star Wars fans. We've always been patient.
Yeah, because I don't want to get to the point where I am with Marvel right now, where I don't give a fuck about it. But
I'm Marvel too saturated.
I cannot tell you what Marvel movies have come out since, or what, I mean, I have not kept up with any of it because I'm just so sick of it.
I don't think we've seen a single Marvel thing since Endgame.
Loki.
Oh, yeah, that was good, though.
Apparently, Loki Season 2 is out?
Is it? I thought it was coming out.
No.
I would think that if it was out, that would be like the splash screen. I don't think that they would put that out at the same time as Ahsoka, but maybe I'm wrong. I've seen, like, trailers for it, but I didn't realize it was, like... I think I would see more gift sets on Tumblr.
Loki was good, but that's literally the only thing we watched this Endgame.
Yeah.
but there's been like
and that's just because
there's been 8 movies
I mean,
since
look,
Endgame.
if you look slightly to the left
Yes.
of my other boo,
Bin.
we have and here's Tom Hiddleston's signature right there. Tom Hiddleston's right there. And there's like drawings of him up on this wall and everything that I've done. So, yes, I had a Loki phase. Who all was surprised?
Just a phase.
Just a phase. Hey, it hasn't lasted as long as. They just get longer and more permanent the further time goes. Actually, that's not true because between, actually, there's a YouTuber that we really like, Strange Eons.
Yeah.
That Strange Eons, who's also a Tumblr user, and she did like a Tumblr sexy man episode thing, and she was like, oh, like, so I feel like when Force Awakens came out, I got really into Kylo Ren for about 2 months, and she's like, well, I feel like the Kylo Ren fans, like, they didn't just come out of nowhere. I feel like that they were Loki fans 10 years ago, and now they're like 30 years old, and now they're into Kylo Ren. I'm like, I've been read.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. But then it was only like 2 months, and then I found the Grand Inquisitor, and then it's been that for 7.5 years. So I don't know what to say.
Yep.
Brain does what it does. I don't know. I've tried explaining to him how it works, but it doesn't make any sense.
You don't. It doesn't have to make sense.
No,
it
doesn't have to make sense.
I know. That's why I said. I just said that. Oh.
As long as you get enjoyment from it, that's what's important.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much everything we had to say. I think we're all wrapped up on this. Thank you guys for joining us for this journey that we've been on together. And yeah, I think overall this was a good show. If I had to rate it, if you had to rate it out of like 10, what would you rate it? And then maybe give some of your...
What are we saying is 10?
Best.
No, okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's how I'm saying. What other property within Star Wars are we putting it in?
Oh, what are we putting at a 10 in Star Wars?
In shows.
No. Yeah, okay. Andor.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, feel free to give your ratings for some of the other things.
I mean, if Andor is a 10, which
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Andor is a 10 in terms of all media. Andor's a 9. But if Andor is a 10, I'd say that this is like a 6.5, 7.
Yeah, I was about to put it at the same spot. And then I think that, like...
Kenobi's like 4.5, 5.
Wow, that's low.
Well, okay. Oh, boy.
Yeah,
I'll put Kenobi at a 5, and I'll put Mandalorian Season 3 at like a 4.
Okay, so what about 1 and 2?
Mandalorian Season 1 and 2?
Yeah.
Season 1, probably 7.5, 8.
Okay.
Season 2, maybe 6.5.
So you think that Mandalorian Season 1 was a little bit better than this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can take that. You know what we didn't talk about is Anakin being in this episode.
Well, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool to see Anakin. Cool.
I wonder if they saw like how visceral the reaction to him being in the other episode was, and they're like, "Do we have any B-roll footage that was shot of Hayden Christensen that we can just like, oh yeah, just get 2 seconds of him being blue and put it at the end of the episode."
It's a shadow in the night sky.
Yeah,
it's a shadow on the horizon, and then they fucking.
And then it's just Hayden Christensen. They're like, put more Anakin in there. They fucking love Anakin.
We do.
We do.
We love him. Anyway, yeah. Yeah. And book. You didn't talk about Book of Boba Fett in your ranking system.
I'm a little biased. I mean, it was good.
I mean, if I had to like pit them against each other, I think Mandalorian Season 3 was the worst, and then Book of Boba Fett, and then Mandalorian Season 2, and then Kenobi, and then Mandalorian Season... No, and then this, and then Mandalorian Season 1.
Yeah.
And then Andor. Hi. Yeah, our son agrees. our Black Cat Leto Atreides here.
Yeah, Atreides.
The Dune fan weighs in.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that's probably where my rankings is done. Even though it pains me to put our Borbos so low on the rankings scale. The show was not about the Grand Inquisitor. If the show was about the Grand Inquisitor, it would have immediately bumped up so much higher for me. You know it would have.
Talk about short seasons, 6 fucking episodes.
Yeah, 6 episodes was not a lot. But you know what? I think that is one that I don't think it needed to be any longer. So.
Yeah, it's okay. Or whatever.
It's fine. This is not the Kenobi Show podcast.
No, it's not. I wouldn't do a podcast about it.
I would.
Maybe
I'll
if I
run
could
it
get,
solo.
maybe if I could get toasted about it and talk about it, that'd be great.
Whatever, man.
Drunk Kenobi rant.
Anyways, thank you all for joining us on this journey once again. Obviously, this show is ending, so we're not going to be continuing the To Find a Jedi series. We may occasionally pop back up for some other Star Wars media if something comes out that compels us to do so. I know Andor Season 2 supposedly just got a release date or something like that. We've got the Acolyte to look forward to, and maybe some stuff along the way.
You know what's going to be great about the Acolyte?
What?
They have characters they can kill.
Not that they don't have characters they can kill in everything else, they just don't.
Barely.
Hey, I'm just
They
glad...
don't have... No. Not in this, not in Kenobi.
They could have killed Sabine. We established that. They wouldn't have. Alright, fine, whatever.
I want to see some brutal Jedi murder in Acolyte.
I think we probably
Deliver!
will. I'm pretty sure the Acolyte is a murder mystery show
Good.
about Jedi being murdered.
Excellent. I cannot wait.
Okay.
My bloodlust has not been satiated.
No, it's bloodlust. Look, I'm just saying that we've had lots of Inquisitors and none of them have killed anyone on screen. Sorry. They haven't killed any Jedi on screen. Right. The Grand Inquisitor has killed 3 people on screen, all of which were antagonists.
Yep.
4 if you count himself.
What a track record. It's your favorite character.
He's done a great job, everyone. We've never seen him kill a Jedi. Okay. Anyways, you can catch me on Twitch here at twitch.tv /Inquisitorious Senbin with underscores. And I'll still be doing my drawing streams on Thursdays. So you can catch me there. Obviously, you can also find me on Instagram or Tumblr or YouTube if you want to relive all of this again. Up to you.
And I haven't plugged this before, but me and a close friend of ours do a Lost podcast. It's an audio podcast.
The TV show Lost, not about Jedi being lost. It's about a TV show that came out.
Yeah. No. Yeah. If you don't
we're
know,
on Star Wars, okay?
No. Okay. Right. The Lost, the TV show. We're finishing up season 3. So if you're interested in that, it's called Jungle Mystery.
Yep. He's an experienced podcast professional, unlike me.
Not at all. Do not sell it that high.
They have actually a big listening and following.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, you do. Trust me. So, all right. So thank y'all. See you in another life.
No! How dare you?
No, it's
See you on that.
nah.
Sue you for copyright.